Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the Argent Gigas Maste because they give you so much extra damage. Alright, so the very first thing I want to go over is, of course, what stats do you get by using the Argent Gigas Maste. You get 40 HP as well as 5.75% potency, versus the regular Gland Gigas Maste, which only gives you 30 HP and 4.75% potency. So by upgrading your Gland Gigas Maste to an Argent Gigas Maste, you are increasing your maximum HP by 10 as well as an extra percentage of potency. However, as we all know, the way potency works is multiplicative, so if you actually replace the Gland Gigas Mastes on all three pieces of your armor with the Argent Gigas Maste, you actually gain somewhere in the ballpark of like 18% extra potency, which is actually pretty insane. Because if we look at my potency right now, we're at like, 517%. If we add in another 18%, we're looking at 530 something percent potency, which is absolutely massive. Now, of course, the higher your potency, the bigger the effect is going to be. So let's say that I'm using my fighter, which doesn't have that much potency floor, but just has a lot of raw potency. We're looking at a base of like 520-ish potency, plus an extra 18% potency, and we're somewhere in the ballpark figure of 540 to 550% potency, which is absolutely insane. And the cherry on top is the Argent Gigas Maste is actually a lot easier to just place onto your armors or even your weapon if you want to, simply because you don't have to re-augment everything. You don't need an augment transfer pass, you don't need nothing. You simply just jam this into your armor and boom, you're done, which is really nice. And it gives a full 1% extra potency compared to the new armors. If you want to transfer all of your augments onto your new armor, you're gonna need an augment transfer pass, da-di-da-di-da, and you only get 0.5% extra potency. So in most people's cases, I believe you should just stick with your Execute armor and just shove in an Argent Gigas Maste into every single piece in order to upgrade your potency as well as HP, give you a little bit more survivability, especially in the new Ultra Realm, because man, those high Crocodilus hits like an absolute truck. And yeah, a lot of people have been dying a lot, even in my pre-made group. Whenever Crocodilus does like their big move and they just do a massive AoE, it's always like 3 or 4 people instantly dying. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. So increasing your survivability by any means possible is definitely a huge plus. Now, some of you guys may have noticed I didn't really mention the weapon, even though the Argent Gigas Maste would be a very good replacement for the Gland Gladiusol. Gland Gladiusol only gives me 25 HP, 7 PP, as well as 4.75% potency. The Argent Gigas Maste would be a perfect replacement for this, but the problem is I do lose out on that 7 PP. It really depends on what you prioritize. If you need that extra PP, stick with the Gland Gladiusol. If you think that, hey, you just want to go extra potency, extra damage, and just extra HP because you don't need the PP, then by all means, you can always upgrade to the Argent Gigas Maste instead to get that extra potency. However, for me personally, I'm still farming for the Argent Gigas Mastes and selling them because the market price is still pretty good. We were looking at 11 million on day 1, and it's gone down to 8 million. So I'm still going to capitalize this, as I am basically making one Argent Gigas Maste every single day with about 3 hours of gameplay. So I'm still cashing out, making sure that every single day I make one Argent Gigas Maste, throw on the market at market price, and cash out and make a little bit of money. Now, another thing I want to talk about, since the UQ literally just popped up, is of course we do have the new rank 3 of the UQ, where all of the mobs are level 110. These mobs are very tanky. However, they have added the new Forshka armors in this UQ. I've actually gotten the Forshka armor several times from the UQ, which is really nice because I did cash out and sell them immediately. We also have a chance of getting all the different rings, so that is really nice. And of course, we have our Sustia capsules, as well as our Gland and Magis Gigas Mastes, so that is really nice. So you definitely don't want to sleep on the UQ. You definitely want to run it every time it comes up. There's even crest cubes here if you still need that. They keep dropping for me since I don't need them anymore, so yeah, thanks Sega. Now, if you do get the Forshka armor to drop, the prices are still in free fall, so if you do want to sell them, you might want to sell them relatively quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if this crashes out at like 3 million maybe per armor, simply because nobody really wants to upgrade to these armors because they don't have the augment transfer passes. But if you are incredibly lucky, don't forget about the Big Bang Scratch to get gold, because you can get a full-on augment transfer pass. It's a 2% drop rate, is pretty dang low. However, you might get really lucky and might land on this jackpot item. Now, even if you don't land on the jackpot item, there is a fairly good chance that you're going to get the Augment Transfer Pass vouchers, the stack of 25 or the stack of 50, which might be just enough to make your Augment Transfer Pass. As you can see here, I'm actually a 41 Augment Transfer Pass voucher short, so if I do land on the stack of 50, I would be able to actually make one full-on Augment Transfer Pass. So as I said in yesterday's video, the TLDR of this week is to just farm in the Ultra Realm, run the UQ whenever it comes up, and you're just aiming for those two new items, obviously is the Argent Gigas Maste, as well as the new armors, and then, you know, potentially you might get rings. I've actually had several players tell me that they've been getting quite a lot of rings in the Ultra Realm. Personally, I haven't been as lucky. I farmed there for 6 hours so far, because 3 hours for 2 days, but I have not obtained a single ring, but I did get armors. I got like 100 Sustia capsules, which is absolutely amazing, and was able to cash out on my Argent Gigas Mastes. Now, I do need to remind everyone that if you don't like your odds right now and you're like, Kero, I have horrible luck, I don't want to farm right now because, you know, I feel like I'm wasting my time, don't worry, you can wait till next week, because next week we will get that 100% RDR buff that applies to everyone free to play as well as premium members. We also get a 50% Fixa drop rate increase, which will definitely help if you do manage to get a high Fixa on the new armors. Those are still going for a lot of money, so you could gamble on that. And then of course, our Sustia capsules are going to drop a lot more often, since they already drop fairly often, but with that extra rare drop rate, they're going to drop even more often.
Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel, it really means a lot to me. Thank you again.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!